Welcome to Session 1, Board Basics and Working with Nonprofit Management. So you are thinking of joining a board. There are 10 reasons to join a board according to Joan Garry, author of Nonprofits Are Messy. Number 10, you will learn patience. A group of smart, passionate folks working around a conference room can argue and pontificate. They can say stupid things and make the most brilliant observations, and you will learn the patience to wade through it. You will learn to ask for money. It's often uncomfortable, but every grown-up should know how to ask for money for a worthy cause. You will have an experience that enriches your resume. While this sounds selfish, it's still true, and it's okay to be honest about it. And you will meet interesting people who will add to your sphere of influence. You will learn to play nicely in the sandbox. This is all about diplomacy and making sure that your colleagues get their say, even if you think your comment said it all. The very best board members are teams. You will learn to appreciate that assets equal liabilities. You will be able to read and understand financial statements and ask a related question or two that actually makes sense. You will have another excuse to skip the gym. Just wanted to make sure you're paying attention. You will learn how to run an effective meeting of people who don't work for you. Perhaps you'll find yourself as a committee chair. Trust me, you will learn a very different set of skills. You will stretch all your intellectual and emotional muscles. Board service at its best allows you to bring your full self to the organization, your emotional connection to the work, your commitment to the overall sector, your life experience, your skills, and the good head you have on your shoulders. Finally, you will fall more in love with your organization. The closer you are to the work of your nonprofit, the more that work comes to life for you. The more passionate you will become, and you will feel another emotion. Why do nonprofits have boards, and what do they do? Most nonprofits are corporations, meaning they are legal entities distinct from the individuals that founded them. Corporations are governed by boards of directors with legal and ethical responsibilities that cannot be delegated. The first category that boards' responsibilities fall into are legal and fiduciary. They need to ensure the organization meets legal requirements and is operating in accordance with its mission. Individual members practice duty of care, attending meetings, making informed decisions, and board meetings are responsible for protecting the organization's assets. The second category is oversight, ensuring that the organization is well run, has the power to moderate the power of management, and has the power to hire and remove the chief executive or executive director. The third category is financial resources. Boards must be actively involved in making sure the organization has the money it needs. They make personal contributions, serve as an advocate of the organization, and take an active role in fundraising. Finally, boards serve as a representation of constituencies and viewpoints. They provide professional experience or perspective of a particular group or segment of the organization's constituency, serve as a voice in governance, and vote within the nonprofit's best interest in mind. By law, every nonprofit must have a governing board. The board is expected to be the highest leadership body of the organization, determines the mission and purpose of the organization, selects and evaluates the performance of the CEO, has an active role in strategic and organizational planning, ensures strong fiduciary oversight and financial management, is actively involved in fundraising and resource development, approves and monitors organizations' programs and services, enhances the organization's public image, and assesses its own performance as a governing body of the organization. The board is only as strong as its individual members. As an individual board member, you're expected to know the organization's mission, policies, programs, and needs, read and understand the organization's financial statements, serve as active advocates and ambassadors for the organization, helping to secure resources and partnerships to advance the mission. Leverage connections, networks, and resources to develop collective action to achieve mission. Give a personal contribution. Prepare for and attend board meetings. Participate fully in one or more committees of the board. Follow the organization's bylaws, policies, and board resolutions. Sign an annual conflict of interest form. And maintain confidentiality about all internal matters of the organization. A board of directors is the governing body of a nonprofit or for-profit corporation. An advisory committee is a collection of individuals who bring unique knowledge and skills which augment the knowledge and skills of the formal board. A board chair is the chief volunteer position and the elected leader of the board. A board officer is a leadership position with a specific set of responsibilities, such as treasurer. A board committee are members of a board or other volunteers mandated to carry out specific functions, programs, or projects as assigned by the board. And an IRS 501c3 is the designation most often is referring to organizations with a religious, charitable, scientific, or educational purpose. There are three nonprofit board legal principles. The first is duty of care, which requires leaders to use good, reasonable care and good judgment in making their decisions on behalf of the interests of the organization. The second is duty of loyalty, which requires leaders to be faithful to the organization, avoiding conflicts of interest. And duty of obedience requires leaders to comply with governing documents. As a board member, documents that should be available to you at your orientation or as a board member include mission statement, articles of incorporation, bylaws, policy manual, strategic plan, financial statements and a budget, meeting minutes, organizational charts, IRS forms, and frequently asked questions about the organization. For effective board meetings, it's important to use the rules of order. An agenda ensures that the important business is covered and discussions are on topic. Motions are proposals for actions discovering with move we. A second is required for the motion to be discussed. Amendments may be made to most motions if they improve the intent or clarify the original motion. Tabling lays the motion aside. Calling the question refers to ending discussion and voting on the motion. Voting is the official action after discussion to adopt, amend, kill, or table the motion. Minutes protect the organization by recording the time and location of the meeting, participants, and the outcomes of motions. A quorum is the number of directors required to conduct business. There are 10 things that every board member should know and understand, according to Joan Gary, author of Nonprofits Are Messy. Board service is a job. It's not an oh by the way kind of thing, it's a serious commitment. But don't let this scare you away. The payoff can be big and way better than any office presentation you have ever given. Your voice is as valuable at your first meeting as it is at your last. Don't be afraid to speak up just because it is your first meeting. You deserve a very good orientation. If you have one, your voice will be even more powerful from day one. If you don't get one, raise your hand to work with a colleague or a staff to develop one. And the board is not an appendage to the organization. This is not a game of follow the leader. Think partnership. You do not need to know rich people to be successful. All you really need to be a successful board meeting or board member is to be passionate about the organization and be active in making sure that the organization is meeting its mission. Your passion for the organization must be greater than your fear of asking. Fundraising can be scary, but it's also necessary for organizations to do the things that they're doing in the community. And at your role as a board member, you need to take an active role in that. If you miss 2 board meetings in a row, call your board chair. It's a courtesy thing and it's important to do. I generally find that someone who misses a few consecutive board meetings, a conversation with the board chair can either re-engage you or lead you to realize this may not be for you. You do have power over staff. and you should use it wisely and never abuse it. The number of stories I hear about bullying and abusive board members just gobsmacks me. So two things: if you're joining a board because it feels powerful, go be powerful somewhere else. And secondly, and more importantly, please call it out if you see it. You need to give a gift that is one of the top 3 charitable gifts you make. And this just needs to be meaningful to you. The number one phrase that will make you a successful fundraiser is this one: please join me. You have zero credibility as a fundraiser if you're not giving yourself. Please share rewarding stories of the board service to folks on the bench. Letting others know who may have never served on a board the value that you have gained from serving on a board can help get more and more people active in nonprofit work and helps make nonprofits stronger as a result. Now let's hear from an expert, Kim Pang. Hello and welcome to session 1, Board Basics and Working with Nonprofit Management. And we are speaking with Kim Pang. Kim has a lot of experience serving on boards throughout North Iowa. And if you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with working with nonprofit boards, that
Sure.
would be great.
Sure. I mean, I've been in the business world for the last 30 years. I retired in 2017. Um, Before I retired, I was an executive with some major gaming companies, casino companies. So, um, got a degree in hospitality management and started in the hotel business and then morphed into casino in 1989. So I've been in the business since 89 to 2017. Every company I've worked with, whether it's Native American casinos or a publicly traded company on Wall Street, um, we've always executives have been charged with being involved with nonprofits. So maybe Chamber, United Way, or any kind of nonprofit within the community you live in. That's what we get involved with. So I think for me, it's very rewarding. Um, to this point, for the last 9 years, I've been involved with locally NIAC, North Iowa Area Community College, in the foundation. I was the chairman of the foundation. And this will be my last year. This will also be my last year as chair of the Mercy Hospital Board here in Mason City. So it's been very rewarding, and I'll talk later about why it's important to pick and choose.
Um, can you tell us a little bit, why nonprofits have boards and what the role of a nonprofit board is?
Sure, sure. For nonprofit boards to be a 501c or any kind of a designation, you generally have to be legally. You're required to have a board. The board actually guides that nonprofit in all their missions and the things that they do. That's why it's important. Not to have a board. It provides them guidance and help, assistance at the end of the day.
What responsibility does a board member have when they join a board?
Um, as a board member, you come with different skill sets. So you provide leadership, guidance to the staff, guidance to the executive. You ensure that strategic plans are met and utilized. Strategic plans are important, whether it's in business or in nonprofit, to give you a roadmap to keep you focused and on track to make sure that you are achieving the goals that you're supposed to as a nonprofit.
How does a board know if they are operating successfully?
Well, board members, I think they need to make sure that they believe in the mission, right? You adhere to the strategic plan, you measure your goals, and the last but not least, staying legal, making sure that you're within the confines of the nonprofit that you establish, making sure that um, you don't get in trouble, you don't get audited, you don't you people don't go to jail. That's the bottom line. If you don't know anything about nonprofits, just don't go to jail.
It's a good place to start. Um, how can a board member give exemplary service?
Okay, so like I said, board members have connections. Board members have strengths that they bring to the nonprofit. Um, so you give purview of strategic support, providing expertise. Through connections, you raise funds. Nonprofits is what it is. They don't have money, so you got to raise money for them to be successful. So using your connections, picking up the phone, getting people involved, that's the key thing. And in that process, advancing the mission and making sure you disclose conflicts of interest. It's important that as a board member, do not vote on things that might benefit you, friend, or relative. That will really taint that nonprofit. And then I think at the end of the day, you build community support to further the organization's goals. That's the most important part of, as a board member, what I try and achieve on a daily basis.
What do you wish you had known about working with nonprofit management?
I gotta say, you gotta do your homework, right? Not all boards are created equal. Some boards are more successful financially, and some are just scraping by to survive. It gets very hard when board members try to get involved with day-to-day operations, which is not our role as board members. Sometimes you do that because you, for the fear of losing that nonprofit. And so you got to understand what nonprofits all about and what you're trying to get involved with, and making sure that it's legit. It's not going to close down tomorrow. That's what you need to know.
On the other end, what do you wish that nonprofit managers, like executive directors and everything, knew about working with volunteer boards?
Um, I think you need to know about the different backgrounds of your board members. Make sure you get them involved using their skill sets, right, to be more effective. Um, do not ask potential board members to be on the board for the sake of just using their name, and if they're not going to get involved. I think potential, uh, you just got to challenge managers. You don't have to abuse them. You just got to challenge them. And I think at the end of the day, that mission and strategic plan will guide everything. So, don't stay off track. Stay on track and follow that roadmap and make sure that it's updated all the time.
How can potential board members know if the role is the right fit for them?
I think you look at a mission. You look at a mission and make sure that it it abides by my belief, your belief. You're committed to the mission. Clearly outline the board expectations. As a board member, what are you expected to do? You're expected to attend meetings every month. If you're going to miss it, it's okay to miss it. But if you're going to miss it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, my suggestion is excuse yourself and get off the board. It's not fair to the nonprofit. It's not fair to you. So if you're going to go in, make sure you go in 100%, not 50, not 40, not 30. And be prepared. Be prepared to help out and get involved. Get your hands dirty. That's the, at the end of the day, it's your passion, right? If you're passionate about something you're going to do, you're going to do it 100%. If you're not passionate, you're not even going to show up. Your mind's not there. So you make sure that it's a right fit for you and it meets what your expectations are on a daily basis.
So the whole point of the board orientation series is to kind of introduce people who have never served on a board to the idea of board service. So what kind of message would you have as someone with so much board experience have for someone who might just be putting their toe in the water?
I think it's very simple. If you can afford a cup of coffee, buy a person who's been on the board or any board in your community and ask them questions.
Mhm.
Ask them what's expected of the board member. Make sure you do your homework. Um, ask questions to see if it fits what you're all about, your availability, if it's something that you're passionate about. So you got to do some homework. Don't say yes to any board that anyone asks you, because there's going to come a time where you won't have time for all the boards. I learned a long time ago, as my wife would tell me, you can only have 3 boards, and you also have a home life. So if you have more than 3 boards, you have too many boards. And you have 3 boards, I think that 3 boards will keep you busy. So make sure you keep your options open, and don't accept every board that someone approaches you for.
I think that's really great advice. Getting to know what the service entails before saying yes helps not only you, but the organization as well.
Yeah.
And so people shouldn't feel bad saying no if it doesn't work for them.
I mean, a very good example is I just sat on a board meeting at a local nonprofit. Um, After I came out of that meeting, um, I told the board member that I will not be accepting a position within the board just because it doesn't line up with what I feel is important in my life at this moment.
I think that's a great example of how you have to be um, choosy. It's not choosy, but it's 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 a benefit to the organization, so you shouldn't feel bad saying no.
Yeah. No, so it goes to the point, right? Go test it first. Do a test run, you
Mhm.
know, attend the meeting and see if it makes sense for you.
Yeah,
Got to make sense for you.
yep. And boards should be open to having that kind of auditing session too for potential members. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
well, Kim, that is all of the questions I've got for you. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you taking the time and talking with us a little bit.
I'll put one more thing out there, Jen. If
Okay.
you have people out there, young executives, young people who are willing to get on boards, I would, if they're Mason City area, I would be open to meeting them for coffee.
Okay.
They want that opportunity to talk and just get some idea, right? I'd be open if I'm in this country and I'm not traveling, I would meet them for coffee. So
Awesome.
it's out there for you.
All right. That would be great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
You have a great day.
You too.